So then now you guys and your story. So how did you guys meet and how did you land in the position that you are in and where do you see it going?
So basically this would have been right before COVID hit. So probably 2019. Brian and I had started just talking about philanthropies and nonprofits, wanting to get more involved in the community. Also, my kids were going into school, so I was starting to have a little bit more time on my hands. And I just happened to be training with someone that I was like, I'm not sure I know I want it to have to do with kids, but we were also kind of newer to Temecula at the time. And she was like, oh my gosh, there's this really cool like local nonprofit. I think you should get involved with them, Amanda. And so I ended up at Rhonda's house. I probably called or texted you guys, and emailed you guys. And so I met at the old CEO's house, and it was just so personal, genuine. The Rose Again office was her house. And so I came and I remember I met you and she'd always have like tea and like little, sandwiches. Aww. And we would go over things and we were actually starting fundraising. And literally this would have been January 2020 and then COVID hit. So we were like, what the heck? Like I was going to do this cool tea party with moms and daughters. And so we ended up still doing Easter baskets, but we would just have to deliver them like outside the doors to all the kids. And one thing that I always noticed, because we give to, so many nonprofits and charities, but they always wrote us an email every month, like, thank you for this. This is exactly what it went to. We had 2, emergency placement babies, and this went to diapers and, a crib and this and that. And so I really loved that they kept us in the know. And then they would give us handmade thank you cards from the kids. And that for me, I'm from the South. My mom still to this day, if the kids have a birthday or get a present or anything, I better have, a handmade thank you card out to her. I can't even buy one, you can't do that. So we're kind of old school in that way. So when we received those, it was the sweetest thing. And then it also taught my kids, they had so much fun, like filling the Easter baskets. We went and delivered together, even though we couldn't really meet the families due to COVID. But they loved seeing the thank you cards too. I mean, they would just light up like, oh, we got thank you cards today. And we still have them all to this day. So that I think for me just made it so personal and it really made them stand out. And it was just so genuine and kind-hearted. So basically, that's how we met, because you were already there when I met you. Yes. And then COVID hits, and then basically this year in June, I knew both of my kids would be in school full-time for the first time. And my husband's like, you are going to bother me. Please find something to do and keep you busy. You need something. He's like, but you don't necessarily have to work. It needs to be something you're passionate about. And I knew I loved kids, but I kind of in my head was like, oh, there's already Rose Again. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So right then, Rhonda, the CEO, sends me a text. It's like, hey, we're going to have to shut down Rose Again Foundation. My husband's really sick. And basically the whole family was moving out of state to Idaho. And so I forwarded like instant. I have chills every time I tell the story. I forwarded it to Brian and I'm like, is this exactly what we've been talking about and looking for? And he was like, oh my gosh, it is. So I even called you guys and we all agreed, even Ron and I like said this at the same time, like, this has never felt more right, like 100%, in, and they had been praying about it. I had been praying about it. And what's funny is I always thought people were so lucky that like grew up and they knew right away they were a good singer and they were going to be a singer. I never really had that. I knew I loved kids and I knew like I had a heart that was just passionate for people and wanting to make a difference. And I was always like, why don't I have that luck? And then literally I feel like I got closer with God through quarantine and COVID and he literally dropped it in my lap and I was like, finally one of those people, like this is so great. So of course it's scary too. I mean, to go from a stay-at-home mom to, hey, you're a CEO, and they also say CUO for Chief Unpaid Officer. It really was like, that's a big transition. There were some nights I'd lay awake and I'd pray and I'd be like, what'd you get yourself into? Are you going to be good at this? And because my husband's really good at what he does, I think I felt pressure there too, but he was always really supportive. And the real estate community in itself has really, you've seen it, has been incredibly supportive. So we just kind of dived in and we started small with the programs, and I'm a big event person, so we added like some events in there, and literally it has changed my life. Like, people will come and be like, thank you for taking over. But I'm like, thank you for allowing me to do this, because it has really changed my life.
Yeah.
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 So super cool.
That is dynamic. And so now you guys are like the dynamic duo out there.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
she's part-time because of work, but I mean, she's awesome. She's always, you know, super hands-on. And honestly, I don't think I would have been able to take over. That's a big part, without knowing that she was going to be there. Because I mean, I really would have gone in just not knowing anything. And so luckily, knowing that Maria was staying on and would be a support system, and, you know, we worked out our groove really quick. I feel like it was
Yeah,
pretty
we
instant, which
did.
was nice. Yeah.